Hello, we're here today with Nick Dilucia from Southport, PA. His business name is Hold My Kicks, and he's a collector and he's a reseller. So we're just going to digest him a little bit and get about the shoe game. Okay, first question today. When did you start collecting shoes?
I started collecting shoes right around holiday of 2011. That's right around when the Concord 11s re-released. My first shoe was the Last Shot 14s.
Very popular shoe too. What made you start collecting?
Probably, I was interested in shoes before the Concords. That really put me over the top. There was a very sad moment in the news. Someone actually got shot over the shoes. Terrible tragedy, but the hype was there. Everyone wanted the shoes. I saw the lines. I saw what everyone else wanted that I didn't have.
Okay, so, and endingly, you started selling shoes. What made you start to sell shoes?
I had to start selling shoes because buying shoes became way too expensive. These things retail is about $170 a pair at this point, or $190. They just got increased.
Yeah, this year.
It's too much money.
So can you give me details about selling shoes? It's like the ins and outs.
Yeah. Well, the whole process would be the hardest thing to do is obtain a reasonable amount of the shoe. Actually, being a reseller, it's not putting in a couple tickets here and there and winning maybe a pair or two, keeping one for yourself and selling one. At that point, it's not worth your time and effort. Once you're able to secure a reasonable number of pairs of shoes where it's worth your time and worth the effort of shipping them and finding connects and selling them through different outlets, eBay, PayPal, invoices, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. There's so many different ways to sell shoes. It's a very massive business that people don't understand all the ins and outs of. Just different examples of problems you have to tackle is whenever you price the shoes, you're talking about shipping on the East Coast. We're on the East Coast right now, but shipping to the East Coast is about $7-8 a pair. West Coast, you're talking 17 to 20. That would be one instance of a fee that you'd have to pay.
What's the eBay fee percentage?
eBay is up to 10%.
So
10% of sales go straight to eBay.
So if you sell a shoe for $250, they take
$25 right off the top.
Right off the top, right there. And then you have a PayPal fee, which is
it starts at 2.9 based on the volume of sales you do.
Yeah.
You can make it down to 2.2, I believe.
So they take another. That's like another $10.
Yep.
So you're down from a $250 to a $220.
Yep.
Shoe retail is $190, so you're making $20-30 a pair.
And shipping.
So
you're down there $20 a pair, maybe.
Yeah. So people think it's like an easy process, just buying like a retro Jordan on the internet and selling it. It's more in depth with that.
Definitely more in depth. Definitely not worth your time if you're doing one pair for $20.
And you have this all detailed in like a log sheet.
I do. I keep track of my inventory in a giant spreadsheet specifically to judge myself based on pre-releases last year, year-over-year differences, try to see how the whole market trend is going with how the public is reacting to shoes, and then also I hope I never get audited.
Oh, yeah. So you pay taxes and all that thing?
I do. I have to pay income tax, too, on any profits made selling shoes.
And plus you pay a fee for boxes also.
I do, yes. I just ordered boxes today. $160 for 100 boxes. So $1.60 a pair.
So how do you know what the price of shoe with all these fees and such?
Well, honestly, I don't consider my fees or time whenever I price a shoe. I'm more in the market of quick flipping instead of like a long-term investment. And so my prices are 100% dictated on what people are willing to pay for the shoe at the current time. There has been many instances where I have bought a couple size runs worth of retro Jordans and lost money on every pair I sold.
That's crazy. So how long do you think you're going to be doing this?
Collecting or selling?
We'll go with selling first.
Selling, I will be selling until there's no more money to be made. My lifestyle and my bank account have gotten used to a little bit of supplemental income from my normal job,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not something I'm going to give up unless I'm forced to.
And you'll still collect.
I still plan on collecting. It's definitely going to have to be toned down without that supplemental income that I can kind of justify. And once I'm out of selling this much, I don't think I'll know as many people to get all the shoes.
So you think the market will eventually crash?
I do. I think very shortly, with the amount of supply and demand that Nike has been putting out, or the supply Nike's been putting out and the demand that's there, I don't think it's going to last very long. Shoes will always be wanted for nostalgia purposes, but the game of reselling I don't think will last much longer. Retails have been going up, which that kills margins based on all the fees and eBay fees that we talked about. The more they go up, and just 3 years ago, a general release Jordan, some malls around here were getting 12 to 18 pairs, and now every store gets 60.
So the oversize of shoes and the price of the retail is going to kill the reselling game.
They're getting too easy to get, and there's not enough money to be made.
So you don't think Nike will devise a plan to maybe help their market, because they probably have to make their goals every year too?
See, I think Nike is in a very weird predicament right now. They're a public company. Their entire purpose to return money to shareholders is every year to increase sales and drive up purchases. And at this point, the only way to do that is to make more shoes. They sell out every time. The only way to increase sales is to make more. The more you make, the more there is for the market, and I don't think it's going to be growing fast enough to keep up with that.
I just want to clarify for the public, these aren't like regular shoes. These are like retro Jordans, right?
Yeah,
These are mostly retro Jordans.
Yeah, anything that's limited, mostly Nike basketball shoes. So
LeBron,
Kobe, Kyrie, that just started too.
Yeah.
KD and
Foam
posits, the Penny Hardaway.
So you can't just go buy a shoe from a regular retailer and sell it.
No.
This has to be kind of limited and hyped up.
Any of these shoes, unless you get extremely lucky, you're not going to walk in a store and just buy them at any point in time. There's a ticket procedure, a raffle procedure, something like that, waiting in line if it's a big first come first serve store, anything like that. It's not unless you get real lucky from someone returning a pair of shoes, you're not going to just find them.
So people just think you just come on a Saturday and get a shoe, but it's just a long process.
You better be here early.
Yeah, so stores don't really do first come first serve anymore.
No, most stores are all raffle at this point. Almost every store is.
Yeah. To a normal person, they just think they can just go and get the shoe, but they don't know the ins and outs.
And that's why they're willing to pay $230, $240 for a pair of shoes that only cost $190.
Okay. Last question: what's your ultimate goal from selling shoes?
Well, it started out to pay for my own collection, because that was taking a healthy chunk of my paychecks. And at this point, I've grown my business to being a nice supplemental income. I really want to buy a house soon, so that would probably be my ultimate goal, would be to save up a nice down payment on a house.
And you have bought other people's collections, right?
I have. I've bought a few collections from different sources in Pittsburgh. They usually range anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000, anywhere from 15 to 35 pairs of shoes.
So sometimes a collection can be like a down payment on a house, kind of.
Yeah. I couldn't believe whenever I did the math, so I couldn't pass it up, but I've counted out over $6,000 in cash for a collection more than once.
So how many pairs of shoes would you say that are at your house right now?
If I'm including my collection and what I would consider my business inventory, I'd have to say 150 pairs.
Really?
I used to have a business inventory running around $20,000, which was probably 100 pairs of shoes. I have since shrunk that down just because I've been nervous with the game recently. To now I carry around about $7,000 or $8,000 at 50 pairs of shoes.
That's crazy. And you think Pittsburgh is a good marketplace, or you think if you go to New York or California, you have better chances? Or
I think Pittsburgh is a great marketplace for resellers and for collectors, because we are an urban enough area to get a lot of allocated shoes. However, we don't have the population that New York or LA or Chicago has, Miami, people that have disposable incomes and can spend that much money on multiple pairs of fashionable shoes. And that's why a reselling game exists. And reselling has become humongous in Pittsburgh. There are so many people nowadays that are trying to flip shoes in our city.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for coming by.